My phone buzzed 3 times in a row, the kind of rapid vibration that meant trouble, not memes. I was at my desk, finishing an email to a major airline executive, when the banner popped up at the top of the screen. Hayes siblings only. I rarely open that group chat. It was my brother Tyler's idea, and he mostly used it to post selfies of himself at the gym or jokes that always seemed to land on me. But the messages kept stacking so fast I couldn't ignore them. I sighed, picked up my phone, and tapped it open. Tyler, flights booked, Vegas trip, let's go. Brooke, finally. Siblings only vacation. Mom, I'm so happy for you three. You deserve it, sparkling heart. I frowned. You three? Another message popped in before I could process it. Tyler, just to be clear, this is for the actual siblings only. No plus ones. No extras. And then Brooke, never one to miss a chance to twist the knife. Brooke, yeah, Lauren, you know what we mean. It's a bio kids trip. Hope you're not offended. For a second, the office around me went fuzzy. The hum of the AC, the distant chatter from the open plan space outside my glass door, the quiet click of my keyboard, it all blurred into background static. I stared at the word extras. That's what I was to them. The girl Dad met when I was 3, signed a couple of forms, and then treated like some long-term house guest he was slightly annoyed he couldn't evict. I swallowed hard, resisting the urge to type something angry. Instead, I checked the time on my watch. 5:12 p.m. In 18 minutes, I had a video call with the CEO of Skyline Air, one of the biggest airlines in the country. We were finalizing a partnership between my travel tech company and their entire network. My family still thought I did something with apps. My laptop pinged. Meeting reminder. I set the phone face down on the desk and straightened in my chair, forcing my shoulders to unlock. Business first. Hurt feelings later. When the call connected, the familiar face of Grant Mitchell filled my screen. Late 50s, silver hair, that relaxed confidence of someone used to commanding rooms and runways. Lauren, he said with an easy smile. Good to see you. Ready to make this official? Absolutely. I replied, matching his tone. I've got the final numbers pulled for you. For the next half hour, we talked metrics, integration timelines, customer experience. My app had helped them handle rebookings during a mess of delays last month, and their executives were still raving about how we'd save them from a public relations nightmare. You did something special, Grant said, leaning closer to the camera. I don't say that lightly. We want you in Seattle tomorrow morning for the internal announcement. I've already told my team to put you on a first-class seat with us. Tomorrow morning. I blinked. Tomorrow? He chuckled. You built a system that moves fast. I assumed you can, too. You'll love the lounge. I'll have my assistant send the details. I felt a slow warmth spread through my chest. I'll be there. Good. And Lauren? Yes. You've earned this. Don't downplay it. The call ended. My inbox dinged almost immediately. Itinerary. Skyline Air. First class. 7 a.m. departure. Same airport my family would be at. Probably around the same time. The thought made my pulse jump. For a second, I pictured it. Me gliding through the priority lane while they wrestled with overstuffed carry-ons and a budget ticket. Then I scolded myself. Childish. Petty. Except, was it? They had just told me in plain text that I didn't qualify as a real sibling. That this trip was for bio kids only. Like I was a rental they could return. I picked my phone back up and opened the chat again. New messages. Please don't take it personally, honey. It's just something they've wanted since they were little. Brooke. Yeah, like those family vacations before you came along? We're just recreating that vibe. Tyler. We'll bring you something back though. My jaw tightened. They didn't invite me. They didn't ask how that would feel. They didn't care that I was sitting here in my own office, with my own company logo etched into the glass door, about to fly first class with the man who ran their entire airline world. They still saw me as the extra. I inhaled slowly, then typed. Me. No worries. Hope you all have an amazing trip. 3 dots appeared. You're being so mature. I'm proud of you. I almost laughed out loud. Proud of me for accepting that I'm not really one of them. Sure, I muttered to myself. Let's call it maturity. I locked my phone and stood up, crossing the office to look out the window. Downtown lights were beginning to glow, the sky fading toward deep blue. Somewhere beyond the horizon, jets were tracing paths through the air, connecting cities, strangers, families. I thought about every night I'd stayed up tweaking code, trying to keep servers from crashing, taking customer support calls myself at 2 in the morning. No one in my family knew about the nights I'd eaten instant noodles to pay for cloud hosting, or the time I'd sold my car to afford one more month of payroll for my tiny team.
They hadn't asked.
I'd stopped offering. Now, things were different. We had investors. We had revenue. And now we had Skyline Air. I walked back to my desk and opened the confirmation email again, reading every line like it was a quiet promise. Cabin, first class. Status, VIP guest, meet and greet. There it was in black and white. Not extra. Not almost family. Not you don't qualify. VIP guest. An idea whispered through my mind, slow and steady. I didn't want drama. I didn't want screaming scenes in the terminal. That was their style. Big fights, slammed doors. My style? Quiet, calm, precise. Let them think they had pushed me out. Let them think I was spending the weekend alone, scrolling through their photos. Then let reality walk up to them wearing a Skyline Air badge and greeting me by name. That night, I packed light, a soft blazer, a fitted top, tailored jeans, clean white sneakers. Polished but comfortable. I checked my slides one last time, then set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. Scrolling through social media before bed, I saw Brooke's post already up, a screenshot of their e-tickets. Sibling trip. Real ones only. I could have commented. Could have called her out. Could have started a fight in the comments section. Instead, I turned off my phone, lay back on my pillow, and let the ache and anger slowly burn into something else. Focus. If they didn't want me on their side of the line, fine. Tomorrow, they'd see which line I actually stood in. With that thought settled like a stone in my chest, I finally closed my eyes. Morning was coming fast. And so was their surprise. The terminal was already buzzing when I stepped inside. Rolling suitcases, tired early morning chatter, the smell of coffee drifting from every corner. I tightened my grip on my carry-on and checked the departure screens. Skyline Air 201 Seattle, 7 a.m. on time. Perfect. I headed toward the priority security lane, scanning the crowd as I walked, and that's when I saw them. My mom stood near the self-check kiosks, fussing with her purse. Tyler was snapping photos of himself flexing next to his suitcase, and Brooke was talking loudly about how first-time Vegas visitors always look broke. I almost turned around, but then Brooke spotted me. Her eyebrows shot up. Lauren. Tyler twisted around. What are you doing here? I kept my face neutral. Catching a flight. Brooke blinked at me like I'd said I was going to the moon. But you don't travel. Not true. I traveled constantly, client demos, investor meetings, tech summits. They never noticed because they never asked. Tyler scoffed. On what airline? Bargain jet or something? I didn't answer. A TSA agent lifted the rope for the priority lane. Ms. Hayes? Right this way. My family froze. Mom's purse almost slipped from her hands. Priority lane? How are you? I gave a small, polite nod and walked past them, the rope closing behind me. Their stunned faces burned into the back of my mind as I placed my bag on the conveyor. Just before stepping through the scanner, I glanced back. They were huddled together, whispering furiously. Good. Let them wonder. Once I cleared security, I headed toward the gates, and almost immediately my phone buzzed. Grant Mitchell. Morning, Lauren. I'm headed your way. We have a situation with one of our Vegas flights. Meet me by Gate 14. Gate 14. My family's flight. I exhaled slowly. This day was about to get interesting. When I reached the gate, dozens of frustrated passengers were clustered around the screens. A bright red label flashed across the board. Skyline Air 118, Las Vegas, canceled. People gasped. Some groaned. A few started arguing with the poor gate agent who looked one apology away from collapsing. But the noise quieted when a small group of airline staff walked out from the side door, followed by him. Grant Mitchell. Tall, silver hair, immaculate navy suit, the confidence of someone who built an empire from runways and steel. People recognized him instantly. Their murmurs rippled through the air. Grant scanned the crowd. Then his face brightened. "You made it," he called out. Lauren. Heads turned. Eyes widened. My family, who had been mid-complaint at the counter, whipped around so fast it was almost comical. Tyler's mouth actually fell open. Brooke froze with her boarding pass half raised. Mom's eyebrows nearly disappeared into her hairline. Grant walked straight toward me, extending his hand warmly. "Sorry to pull you into this chaos," he said. "We'll handle the Vegas situation shortly. But first, welcome to the Skyline Air family, officially." A few passengers gasped. Someone whispered, "Is she a director or something?" I heard Brooke whisper sharply, "What is happening right now?" Grant continued, "The work you did for us last month? Exceptional.
My team still talks about it.
I'm glad you're flying with us today." Every word dropped like a stone into silence. My mom blinked repeatedly. "Why you know our Lauren?" Grant smiled politely at her. "Know her? Your daughter is the reason thousands of passengers weren't stranded last month. She built the system that saved our schedule." My heart thudded. Heat climbed into my face. Not from embarrassment, from validation. Real, undeniable, spoken into the air validation. Tyler stepped forward, voice cracking. "Wait, you're telling me she—" Grant cut him off gracefully.
"Yes.
"She's one of the smartest people our company has partnered with." Then he turned back to me. "Shall we head to the lounge? I want you comfortable before we board." I nodded, keeping my expression calm, even though satisfaction pulsed all the way to my fingertips. As we walked past the crowd, someone muttered, "She must be important." Behind me, Brooke stammered, She didn't tell us any of this." Grant overheard and smiled lightly. "Some people don't need to announce success. They just live it." I didn't look back, but I could feel my family's shock trailing behind me like a shadow. And for the first time in my life, it didn't hurt. It felt like freedom. The Skyline Air Executive Lounge felt like a different universe. Quiet lighting, soft music, fresh pastries lined up like artwork. I took a seat near the window while Grant stepped aside to speak with operations. My hands finally stopped trembling. Not from fear, just the adrenaline of years of being underestimated suddenly cracking open. I sipped the coffee a hostess brought me and tried not to replay my family's stunned faces, but honestly, it was impossible not to. They had looked at me like I'd somehow slipped into someone else's life. As if success couldn't possibly belong to me. Their outsider. Their extra. Grant returned, checking something on his tablet. Vegas flights being rebooked. Mechanical issue. We'll give every passenger compensation. Even my family? I asked lightly. He glanced at me, amused. Especially your family. Skyline Air doesn't discriminate. I snorted. Good, because they sure do. He took the seat across from me. You okay? I nodded. Better than okay. Just strange to have them see me for once. People usually see what they want, he said. Reality tends to catch up eventually. I didn't realize I'd needed that sentence until it landed. A notification pinged on my phone, text messages flooding in like a broken dam. From Tyler. What the heck was that? From Brooke. Why didn't you tell us you worked with the airline? From Mom. Honey, is that man really the CEO? Are you important? I stared at the screen. For years, I couldn't even get them to remember my birthday without a reminder. Now they wanted answers. Now they cared. I typed nothing. Grant glanced at my phone. If you need a minute. I don't, I said quietly. Not anymore. Just then, a staff member approached. Mr. Mitchell, your plane is ready for boarding. Grant stood and adjusted his jacket. Ready, partner? I exhaled. More than ready. We walked toward the jet bridge, passing by the glass wall that overlooked the main terminal. And there, clustered near the rebooking line, was my family. They saw me immediately. Tyler lifted a hand. Lauren. Hey, wait. Brooke cupped her hands around her mouth. Are you flying with him? Mom stepped forward, eyes wide. Sweetheart, can we talk? I stopped only long enough to meet their eyes through the glass. Then I smiled.
Calm. Steady. Free.
I'll call you after my meeting, I mouthed, not arrogantly, not coldly, just honestly. Because I finally understood I didn't need their approval. They needed the truth. And they were finally getting it piece by piece. Grant continued walking, and I followed him down the jet bridge, feeling the weight of their shock fade behind me. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the one left behind. I wasn't the outsider, the afterthought, the extra. I was the one moving forward. The soft hum of the jet bridge felt like the closing of one chapter and the opening of another. When we stepped onto the aircraft, a flight attendant straightened immediately. Good morning, Mr. Mitchell. And welcome aboard, Ms. Hayes. She said my name with confidence, like it belonged in first class. Like I belonged here. Grant gestured toward the first row seats. Settle in. We've got a smooth flight ahead. I placed my bag in the overhead compartment and sat down, letting the comfortable seat cradle a version of me my family had never bothered to see. A version I'd built on my own. As the rest of the passengers boarded, I glanced out the window. The terminal was still visible. And there they were. My family stood huddled together near the rebooking counter, faces tight with confusion, frustration, and something else I'd never seen directed at me before. Shock mixed with respect. But there was no anger inside me. No bitterness. Just clarity. A moment later, my phone buzzed again. I hesitated, then checked it. From Mom. I didn't know you were doing all this. Why didn't you tell us? From Brooke. I feel awful.
Seriously.
We shouldn't have excluded you. From Tyler. Look, I was a jerk.
I'm sorry.
Can we start over? I stared at the messages, feeling a gentle ache. Not because of the apology, but because of how many years it took to get here. How long I had waited for them to see me as something other than second tier. The seatbelt sign chimed. The plane doors closed. We began to push back from the gate. I typed slowly, choosing every word with care. I'm not angry, but I needed this moment for myself. We can talk when I'm back. And yes, we can start over. 3 dots appeared from all 3 of them. For the first time, they didn't flood me with excuses. Just, we love you. I didn't respond immediately, but the message settled softly inside me, like a long overdue truth finally whispered aloud. As the plane lifted into the sky, Grant looked over from the seat across the aisle. You handled that with a lot more grace than most people would. I gave a small smile. I spent years trying to earn a place with him. Turns out I had one somewhere else the whole time. He nodded. Success has a way of revealing who people are and who you are. Clouds drifted past the window, glowing in the early morning light. I leaned back, letting my chest finally relax. They had tried to leave me behind. Life had lifted me forward instead. When we landed in Seattle, I stepped off the plane with something I hadn't felt in a long time.
Peace.
Not because of revenge. Not because they were shocked. But because I finally saw my worth without needing their permission. And later that night, when my family FaceTimed me together, smiling, apologizing, asking questions about my company, I realized something important. They were finally showing up. But this time, so was I. The ending wasn't loud or dramatic. It was simple, warm, and real. A new beginning. A better one. And it felt perfect.